The KÖSTER Acrylic Gel Pump, a quick start guide. To operate the pump, an air compressor with sufficient air output is required, approximately 510 liters per minute. After connecting the air supply, the pressure valves activate. The pressure valve on the right-hand side shows the input pressure for the water pump used for the flushing process. The left-hand side valve shows the input pressure for the material pump. To adjust the pressure, pull the control valve and turn clockwise to increase the pressure or counterclockwise to reduce the pressure. The left pressure valve controlling the material flow has a transmission ratio of 1:25, meaning that at a 4 bar or 58 psi pressure setting, 100 bar or 1450 psi are obtained at the injection mix head. Behind the air input is a condensation unit. This unit removes the condensed water from the compressed air. The unit should be emptied regularly from the bottom. After the condensation unit, an antifreeze unit is integrated. The antifreeze agent drips regularly, reducing the likelihood of the pump freezing. To check the antifreeze agent, depressurize the pump by disconnecting the air supply. Remove the screw from the top and use a clean stick or splint to check the level. Check the antifreeze agent daily and refill if necessary. The main control valve for the water pump is located on the right side of the pump. The main control valve for the material is located on the left side of the pump. These valves control the airflow to the pistons. 2 manometers for the A and B components are located on the front side of the pump. Oil units for lubrication are situated in the front of the pistons. Check the oil level regularly to keep the pistons lubricated. 2 control valves on the lower part regulate the circular flow of the material. To prepare the KÖSTER acrylic gel pump for injection, place the material components A1 and A2 next to the A side of the pump, and the B activator salt component with the empty green container next to the B side. Place a clean container near the rear of the pump and fill it with clean water. To prepare the material, completely pour the A2 component into the A1 component container. To ensure proper mixing of the A components, close the container, tip to the side, and rock the container for approximately 3 minutes. Check that the A component is placed on the correct side of the pump and insert the suction hose for the A component into the container. Make sure that the suction fitting rests on the bottom. Interchanging the hoses must be avoided. To prepare the B component, transfer the B component activator salt completely into the empty green container and then fill it with 21 liters of clean water. To ensure proper mixing of the B components, close the container, tip to the side, and rock the container for approximately 60 seconds. Check that the B component is placed on the correct side of the pump and insert the suction hose for the B component into the container. Make sure that the suction fitting rests on the bottom. Interchanging the hoses must be avoided. Place the single suction hose, labeled S, inside the clean container filled with water. This suction hose is used for flushing the pump and does not have a transparent hose attached. To pump, make sure that the air supply from the compressor is connected to the pump and the main control valves are open. Before injection begins, open the valves below the 2 pressure gauges on the A and B side to vent the pump and remove air trapped in the intake hoses. Cycle the pump until no more bubbles are seen in the transparent hoses attached to the main intake hoses. The pump is now ready for the application. For material testing, open the central material valve and flush out the water from the material hoses. Pump some material into a small container to check the reaction time under actual site conditions. Flush the pump before the material cures inside the injection mix head by closing the central material valve and opening the 2 water valves. After a few minutes, depending on the temperature, the material will turn pink, signaling that the chemical reaction is taking place. After approximately 8 minutes, the material has turned into a white gel. Remove the sample from its container and check the material properties. The reacted material should have a soft, elastic consistency. Cleaning the pump. For both A and B sides of the pump, a clean container is needed. Fill the containers with clean water. Remove the hose from the A component and drain the contents. Cycling the pump helps flush the hoses. Place the hose in the container filled with clean water. Repeat the process for the B side. Remove the hose from the B component and drain the contents. Place the hose in the container filled with clean water. Open the central material valve and flush out the material from the hoses. Let the pump run for at least 20 double strokes. Open the valves below the A and B pressure gauges and cycle the pump with water until no more bubbles are seen in the transparent hoses attached to the main intake hoses. Open the central material valve again and flush the water out from the hoses. Let the pump run for at least 20 double strokes. Refill the containers with clean water. Cycle the pump again to flush the valves and intake hoses. Open the central material valve and flush out the water from the hoses. Repeat the process once or twice if a long storage is planned. After flushing, the cleaning process is finished. Place the caps on the intake nozzles and store them in their compartments. For transport and storage, make sure to close all the valves and detach the air pressure hose. Wind the hoses around the pump, making sure that the first loop is loose enough to avoid bending the hose connections. The pump is now ready and can be stored or transported in a standing position.